Welcome back to my channel. This is Marty, and today I have a new high damage dealing build for WoS and Lords of Mayhem that you have to try. Oh boy, while we are watching some gameplay with the build we are about to reveal here, let's talk about how this build really works and how you will be scaling up your damage. We will be using spells like Winter's Grasp and Tear of Ethereal to buff up the damage with 30% of damage done on Phantom Blade and our auto turret. This node is called Residual Energy. Another multiplier that we are using to scale up our damage is the FX Manic Slaughter. This will add damage to our Phantom Blade as well and the auto turret on top of Residual Energy. We will be adding Manic Slaughter through our gear and also through our passive skill tree. First off now, let's take a look at the gear that we need to use. Alright, so let's talk about the equipment that you are going to need. Now I'm just going to be talking here while hovering on the gear that I'm using here in a moment, but please focus on what stats is crucial, as I will let you know right now. You will need 6 pieces farmed from Wrath of Saracen mode. In the Untainted dungeon mode, here you can gain the affixes of Manic Slaughter on your helmet and chest, and you should aim to get plus 9% on both your helmet and chest piece. The other 4 pieces you will need to farm for is accessories. This is 2 rings, an amulet and a belt. On these 4 items we will need the affix that adds to max rage. Remember, the more rage the more damage we will do because of the head and chest piece with Manic Slaughter on it. Besides the affixes you need for these 6 pieces, you also want to get ferocity. Critical damage 30% is the highest. Material elemental damage percentage, whatever is the best for your weapon. You need to stack the best one, and as high rolled material elemental or occult plus to attack damage as possible. The max is 8 to 12. Sometimes you can get lucky to get 2 affixes on one piece from this dungeon mode, and you can really get some powerful items, and a run takes about 2 minutes once you get high enough damage. And remember to do the runs in only +1 veteran mode. It does not make any sense to go higher when farming because of the time difference. Your main weapon will be a dagger, so you are able to use phantom blades and the Avenger auto turret as well. Your secondary weapon will be a catalyst, so you are able to use Winter's Grasp and Tear of Ethereal. We will go into more details about the weapons a little bit later in this video. Now let's dive into an Untainted dungeon while we keep talking about items. Remember, you need to find a head and chest piece with Manic Slaughter affix on them. It looks like this, guys, and you can only get these items from the victory screen, not from any chests in this dungeon. Also, you have to get max rage on all your accessories. This looks like these rings, for example, and all items with affixes can again only be obtained from the victory screen. We will also be adding even more rage from the passive skill tree. I will show you the passive skill tree later in this video, and we are going through the active skills soon as well. Another thing that you have to keep in mind while doing these runs is that you cannot die, not even once, because your chance of getting a legendary item will be almost 0. Okay, so here we have the victory screen. Now you can see how it looks. It is now time to go into this building here and take a look at our skills. So you're familiar with some of the skills that we're using, but let's go through here how it's set up. Now, Phantom Blades, We are using the increased damage, loyalty of the blades, thick edges, and immobilizing bola to keep up the damage as high as possible. Winter's Grasp, you can see here the modes that we're using. You can pause the video and check it out even in detail if you want to. Tier of the Thiever looks like these. We're using these modifiers, and the Avenger Auditories. We're using the modifier so we can summon 2 of them, and with increased output as well. So, yeah. Let's check out Ether Jump. You can see the nodes that I've been using here also. And there are different kind of reasons for this. We want to keep the damage up as high as we can. Let's just head up to the throne and take a look here. Oh my god, we are the king! We are the kings with this build, right? So, oh man, let's go through it. You can see here everything. We are going down into the soldier, taking up the ferocity and getting some crit and attack damage here. And moving down here, getting the 50 crit node. Crit chance score node, and even more attack damage and critical hit damage, getting the melee weapon damage, attack damage, attack damage, attack damage, and melee weapon damage. Everything here is buffing up our turrets because we're using a decker, so we are buffing up the turrets with all these melee weapon damage. And the 2% global life release will actually keep us alive because we're doing a lot of damage and we have low health. So there's no reason of getting more defensive skills other than this one. Now, grabbing projectiles and melee weapon damage here, and moving over, you can see here, getting some more attack damage and critical hit chance score, moving into the Warlock domain, and grabbing up these really important spells here, nodes. Residual Energy node, which is the node that are buffing up our attacks and our other skills while we are when we are using Tier of Ethereal and Winter's Grasp, right? This is what I'm trying to say. Oh my god. And how this actually works is you're getting this buff for about 10 seconds and then it wears off. So you are doing 30% of the damage that you did with your last spellcast, and it's buffing up your attacks for about 10 seconds. So we're grabbing up max willpower and rage. So the more rage, the better. Then we'll do even more damage with the Manic Slaughter. And as you can actually see here on the passive skill tree, that I haven't spent a point into Manic Slaughter because we don't need to spend any points in it because we're getting it from our chest and headpiece, right? Yeah, and the reason why I've gone up into the Praetorian here is to really grab the critical hit damage and the 25 ferocity as well. Remember that ferocity itself is a lot more strong than critical hit, so you will always want to go for ferocity. So again, yeah, when looking at Manic Slaughter, you don't need to spend the point in your passive skill tree, but you can choose to do so if you want the last 2%, right? It's also going to be damage, so yeah, and let's have a look here again at the chest plate. You know, I'm getting 7% per 100 unspent rage points, and I think the maximum is 9%. I'm getting 8% here on the helmet as well, so at the more that you can get here is actually the better for scaling out the damage using rage. Now let's take a look at Phantom Blaze. You can see the average damage right now here in the skill details is 4883, right? And when we use a skill or spell here and go back, you can see it's about 30% higher, right? So it's scaling up pretty nicely for a short duration of time. And we can try to grab up full rage, and you can see we have 67 K, 6.7k, and using a skill as well with high rage, you can see we are nearly up to 8.5k average damage, and we can triple the damage as well when we crit, right? So yeah, it can get quite high. Once you need to practice on, keeping it up the rage and using your spells, and then firing off your Phantom Blaze right after that. This is the playstyle of the build, really, and you can do a lot of damage and really high crits with it, and it's a lot of fun. Alright, so I promised you to. I will talk about the weapon now, okay? So we need to use a dagger, and you need to have one with the highest base damage as possible. And you need to put in occult based gems. You can see the highest is 12. 8 to 12 damage, and you need to be using these. I just haven't got any right now. But another thing that's really important is you can see these three categories: material, elemental, and occult damage on your weapon, right? If you, for example, on your rings get +2 material damage, you want to be adding physical, rend, and toxic on your weapon. If you have +2 elemental damage on your rings, you want to be adding fire, frost, and lightning. If you have occult damage, you will always have some occult damage on your weapon, because you're using these gems, which are the best ones at the moment. So this is just what you want to keep in mind when choosing a weapon for this build, okay? Also on your weapon, remember to get as high crit rating as you can, and also crit chance if possible. I think the highest ones is 30%, and to be able to output as much damage as possible, yeah, you need to have this crit on your weapon, right? So try and see what you can find, and hopefully you will find something that can benefit for this build. You can also get lucky and get a dagger from the Untainted dungeons with some kind of ability to be able to cast a different kind of spell that you cannot use right now. Maybe something that could benefit this build. You could use this as a base and keep working on it to even get higher. So I really hope this video helps you guys in creating a fun build and being able to do a lot of damage. And I really find this playstyle fun, and it got a nice variation to it. And you should definitely try it out if you're playing Wolcen right now. And also, I just wish you guys the best, because I really love this game, and I wish the best for the game as well, and the developers too. So we have some fun times coming here in the next couple of months, and it's going to be great, right? And even more videos will come out from my channel. So please remember to like and subscribe, and stay here on my channel for even more great build guys in the future, right? So I will just see you guys later, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.